What if a home could heal you? Not through medicine or machines, but through silence, sunlight, and the rhythm of rain. What if walls could slow your heartbeat? If light could remind you to breathe? Some homes are built to impress, polished, perfect, loud with design. But this one was built to exhale. It doesn't shout for attention. It hums, quietly, like nature's own language translated into space and form. They call it a barndominium, but labels fall short here, because it doesn't feel like architecture. It feels like emotion, shaped into wood and steel. Here, calm isn't an aesthetic, it's the foundation. Every beam, every line, carries intention. The air itself feels slower, lighter, softer, as if the house is reminding you that peace isn't found, it's built. You don't just live here, you return here. To yourself, to your breath, to something ancient that modern life made us forget. The scent of pine, the quiet pulse of sunlight across the floor, the gentle echo of rain on the roof. They don't decorate the space, they define it. Because this is not a home chasing trends. It's a home listening to your body, your rhythm, your stillness. So when people ask what makes it special, maybe it's not the design at all. Maybe it's the silence between the walls. The way it makes you feel, like you've stepped into a memory of peace you didn't know you still carried. A home that doesn't just shelter you, it heals you. Did you know that 70% of homeowners feel their space doesn't reflect their style? Don't be part of that statistic. Subscribe and start designing a home that truly feels yours. It begins in the quiet fields, where metal meets meadow, and the scent of pine carries the memory of peace. There's something honest here, something unhurried. The air moves slower, the earth feels closer, and every sound seems to belong. This is where the barndominium takes its first breath, not as a house of walls and corners, but as an echo of the land it stands on. The structure doesn't rise in defiance of nature. It grows from it, like it's always been meant to be there. This is not luxury in the traditional sense. There are no chandeliers, no polished marble telling stories of grandeur. Instead, there's balance. Doors that open wide enough for the wind to wander through, windows that don't just frame views but invite them in. Walls that don't close you off, they hold you gently, like quiet arms around a tired soul. Every material feels grounded. Steel softened by the touch of weather, wood that remembers the rain, stone that keeps the warmth of the sun. It's not perfection they're chasing here. It's presence. Because a space like this isn't meant to impress. It's meant to listen, to the hum of insects, to the creak of beams, to your own footsteps echoing softly in the quiet. The barndominium becomes something more than architecture. It becomes rhythm, the rhythm of air, of light, of life unforced. A sanctuary born from simplicity, from the courage to let nature lead. Here, stillness isn't empty. It's full of wind, of whispers, of everything we forget to notice until the world slows down enough to let us feel it again. A beautiful home is not a dream. It's an art, and you're the artist. Subscribe and start creating spaces that speak to the soul. Steel frames rise, but they don't dominate. They cradle. There's a quiet strength in them, not loud or cold, but patient, like the spine of something living. You can feel it, this balance between resilience and rest. Around that strength, timber folds itself softly, sustainable wood, warm to the touch, aged by the world it once belonged to. Every grain tells a story of storms weathered, of seasons endured, of time that left beauty instead of scars. Nothing here feels new for the sake of newness. It feels earned. Reclaimed beams breathe again, now carrying laughter instead of rain. Even the imperfections, the knots, the cracks, the faded tones, are celebrated, because they remind you that beauty doesn't have to be flawless. It just has to be true. This is the quiet philosophy that shapes the space, nothing wasted, nothing loud. The walls don't just hold, they ground you. The floors hum softly underfoot, textured with life that's been lived before. There's something almost sacred in the way materials meet, not competing, just coexisting. Here, form doesn't follow function. It follows feeling. The shape of comfort, the curve of calm, the weight of stillness held gently in every joint. The palette is humble: clay, smoke, sand, soft light, the colors of things that have always been here. You can close your eyes and still feel the place, as if the materials themselves whisper, "You're safe. You're home." This isn't design that shouts innovation. It's design that remembers connection. The bones of tranquility, built not just to stand, but to soothe. Transform your home. Transform your life. Subscribe now, and let's create spaces you'll love forever. Morning light filters through linen curtains, soft, forgiving, like the first breath after meditation. It doesn't rush in. It arrives gently, spilling across the floor in quiet patterns, touching everything with warmth that feels almost human. In that moment, the house wakes, not to sound or motion, but to light. Here, light isn't just a function. It's a language. The way it bends around a wall, the way it lingers on a wooden beam, it tells you how to move, how to feel, when to slow down. The architecture listens to the sun, like a living organism following its own rhythm. As the day stretches, light shifts its tone, from soft morning amber to clear, thoughtful noon. Skylights pull the sun inside like threads of gold, guiding it carefully through the home. And when evening comes, hidden LEDs bloom softly, echoing the colors of twilight, never competing, only continuing the conversation. There are no harsh switches here, no sudden glare. Just gradients, moments that fade, merge, and breathe. Because light, in its truest form, is emotion. It calms the pulse, restores balance, reminds the body what time feels like when the world moves naturally. Every beam, every shadow is composed like music, notes of brightness, pauses of dimness, a symphony of stillness and glow. It's not about brightness, it's about belonging. In this home, light becomes presence. You don't just see it, you feel it on your skin, you hear it in the hush between hours. And maybe that's the secret. The house isn't lit. It's alive with light, breathing, shifting, holding you in its golden silence. Air moves freely, not pushed or forced, but guided by quiet intention. It drifts through the spaces like thought, finding its way through open corridors and soft partitions. You can feel it, gentle and alive. The kind of air that smells faintly of rain, the kind that carries calm rather than chill. Passive ventilation does the work, but it never feels engineered. It feels natural, as if the home itself is breathing beside you. Water hums softly through sculpted stone basins, a steady rhythm that anchors the space. Not decoration, but heartbeat. A rain harvest system gathers from the sky, its sound a whisper of gratitude, a reminder of cycles larger than us. Outside, a pond mirrors the clouds, reflecting every passing mood of the weather, blending the architecture into the rhythm of the earth. Even silence has an echo here. The acoustics are tuned not by chance, but by care. Materials chosen to absorb harshness and leave only softness behind. The result is a hush so complete it feels like therapy, the kind of quiet that slows thoughts, that reminds you what peace sounds like. It's not about technology. It's about returning to what the body already understands. How to rest when it hears water, how to breathe when the air is pure, how to listen when sound has space to fade. Every element plays its part, every sense participates. You don't just live here, you sense here. You reconnect. You remember. Because wellness isn't a switch to be turned on. It's a balance, a harmony between the elements that shaped us long before walls and roofs ever did. And here, those elements, water, air, and sound, are the quietest, most brilliant designers of all. Every space asks a question. How do you want to feel here? It's a gentle invitation, not one you answer with words, but with breath. With the way your shoulders soften when you step inside. With the quiet sigh that leaves you without thinking. The kitchen invites slow mornings, not the kind filled with hurry and noise, but with sunlight spilling across wooden counters, the scent of coffee, the rhythm of routine that feels like ritual. The living room holds conversations that stretch into dusk, where laughter lingers long after it's gone. And the bedroom, it doesn't just promise rest. It teaches it. The kind of rest that comes not from exhaustion, but from peace. Furniture doesn't stand stiffly. It flows. Every curve, every texture, designed to feel lived in from the first touch. You can trace your day through the shapes. A seat that holds you. A table that waits patiently for hands. A surface that carries the warmth of skin and story. The colors are earthborn. Sage, clay, linen, smoke. Shades that breathe instead of shout. They pull you closer to something elemental, something that feels like belonging. Light dances softly across them, turning every wall into a quiet painting that changes with the hour. This isn't minimalism for the sake of less. It's minimalism for the sake of meaning. Every object has purpose. Every absence has intention. The emptiness isn't empty. It's space left for living. Because in the end, a home isn't just designed to be seen. It's designed to be felt. And here, every space remembers that. It listens to the life unfolding inside it, shaping itself gently around the rituals that make us human.